Here's Miguel from Grumo. We're going to make an app from scratch. Everything from the idea to developing the app to publishing the app, every single step. So I've done these tutorials in the past, but sometimes people are like, you're going too fast, you're skipping things. Well, this is going to be the full process of creating an app without coding using an application, a platform called Glide. And it's going to take, I don't know how it's going to take, whatever it takes. Maybe it takes 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, the whole day, whatever it takes. Everything is going to be here. This video is going to be recorded. So if you have to step away, to have coffee or a bathroom break, whatever, you can do that. And then the video will be recorded in this same link. This will, after the live stream is over, the the video will still be there. So don't worry. You can always go back and play it as many times as you want to. But I wanted to do this live so you really have an understanding of what it takes to build an app without coding in real time, every single step. Okay, so what we're going to cover, let me just go here. Beep, 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 beep. There you go. You can see my screen there. This is what we're going to cover. 10 steps to build an app without coding. First of all, we're going to define the app functionality. In this case, I'm going to build an app to sell live Zoom classes. So if you are somebody that teaches live to live one-on-one, either classes to teach languages like English or Chinese, or if you're doing yoga classes live or fitness classes, and you want to sell those via mobile app, I'll show you how you can build this app from scratch. And also, the app will be available. This app that I'm going to build will be available for you to make a copy and play with it and customize it 100% free. How nice I am, eh? Okay. So what we have here is the 10 steps that I'm going to cover. First of all, define the app functionality, which basically is selling Zoom classes. Then it's going to be how do we connect? So for the next step, we create the spreadsheet. So it's important to understand that the way Glide works is by putting a beautiful user interface, mobile user interface, on top of a Google Sheet. Now, if you know how to use a Google Sheet, you pretty much know how to work with Glide. It's because it's very simple. There's no programming. It's just drag and drop. Now, once we connect with Glide, we're going to create the user profiles because, well, you want your students to be able to log in into your website and be able to see if they have access or not to a specific classes. You want to record that somehow. Who has bought what, right? And you also want to create an administrator account. Very important. You could, in theory, change all the contents inside your app by just changing the Google Sheet, but it's more convenient if you do that inside the app itself. And for that, you have to program the app. Well, not program because there's no programming. You have to set that up inside Glide, which is quite straightforward. Once we've done that, we're going to design the app itself. Okay, so Glide kind of tries to guess what your app is going to look based on your Google Sheet. Okay, but obviously now you have to personalize it so it looks and feels the way you want, with your logo, with your branding, etc. Once we've done some of that, we will create the input edit forms. So these are the forms that you're going to create in order to be able to upload new classes, manage your students, edit classes, all of that within the app without having to go to the Google Sheet. Then the very important part, you want to collect payments for your classes, and you can do that right within Glide as long as you have a Stripe account. Now, Stripe is not available in all countries. If you don't have a Stripe, there's other workarounds. You could create a PayPal button or whatever. You can use whatever payment processing tool you want to, but that's not going to be covered in this tutorial because that will take too long because there's so many different options out there, right? But basically, if you have a Stripe, you can integrate that right within your app using Glide, and people can pay with their credit card inside the app, which is very, very convenient. The next thing we have is how to connect Zoom to Zapier. So now you're going to sell your Zoom classes. Ideally, when somebody pays for your class, they are automatically become registered to your Zoom class. So that means you have to connect Glide to Zoom, and the way you do that is through a tool, a third-party tool, which is called Zapier, which allows you to connect apps with apps. So in this case, Zapier is going to connect Glide, your app, with Zoom. So when somebody buys your Zoom class, it actually gets automatically registered to your Zoom class. How cool is that? Then we're going to test the app and see if it works. Who knows if it works, if it doesn't, maybe everything explodes, but we'll try to do our best. And finally, we're going to publish the app. And in this case, the app is going to be available at grumo.com/Zoom app. Now, don't go there now because there's nothing there, because I have to build the app in real time. So as soon as it's published, you'll be able to go to that link and access the app. All right? Okay, let's do this. Let me go back here. And the first thing we're going to do is define the app functionality. We've done that. It's going to be used to sell classes. And I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can move this around. Okay. Let me just check the chat to make sure people are hello, hello. That's like support options from Africa. There you go. So that's, I don't know. This would be something you have to research. Whatever payment processor you have in Africa, you could create a button, a custom button inside Glide that links people to that payment processor, and then you will have to somehow connect that. If you want to automate it, you will have to connect that with your database, with the spreadsheet, to update your spreadsheet when somebody buys using that payment processor. But we're not going to cover that because that would be too complex. I'm just going to cover the existing Stripe integration within Glide. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. And then whenever I have a break, I'll look at them and I'll try to answer them. But again, you can watch this. You can watch the replay later on. Okay, so now I'm going to share my other screen, which is going to be this one. It's going to be this screen. It's going to be my other screen. Share. Okay, so now you should see the screen. Wonder if I can make that smaller, my face smaller. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna turn my my face off. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Are you there? So I guess when I took my things that you learn, if you take your face off, then your audio goes also, which is very weird. So let me see if I can. Maybe what I have to do is stop the video, hide on stream. No, okay. Let me see. What is why? Well, the thing is that I don't want to show my face. I just want to show the audio. Let me see this. Okay, so what I was saying, because you missed some of it, unfortunately, is that I'm going to use this app as a reference. So I built an app called Course App that allows you to sell courses. So basically, I'm going to build an app that allows you to sell Zoom classes that is going to look very similar to this. So you're going to have the list of classes that you're selling, and then you're going to have a button where you can enroll inside the class. So basically a button to pay for the Zoom class. In this case, in this app, Course App, you can also, you also have lessons. But if you're selling classes, you don't need that because they're going to be one-on-one classes or group classes, right? But it's going to look somewhat similar to this. Basically, think of an app where you can list your Zoom classes and then a button for people to buy these classes and join your classes. Okay, great. Yeah, I want to keep my face up. Hi, Curtis. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Now, I would like to make the screen big without my face because, let me see if I can move this around. Oh, no, because if I take my face off, apparently the audio goes away. Let me see. I just want to share my audio. Okay. Yeah, because otherwise that's going to be way too small for people to see what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, it just seems that if I take my face off, the audio goes away, which it's not a very good design. I think I did this before with this same tool and never was an issue. Yeah, I'm using Melon, Melon by Logitech, which I've already used in the past. I just don't understand why if I take my screen off. Let me just, if I hide this, hide. Yeah, the audio shouldn't go away on a screen, on a screen. All right, let's do a quick test here. I'm going to turn my face off and then let me know if you can hear or not. Okay. So I'm going to keep talking. Just let me know when I take my face off whether you can hear or not. Just say yes or no. No, obviously you don't hear it. Okay, let's do it. All right. So it forces me to put my face on it. That's really not useful at all. Okay. Ah, yeah. So I don't, how do I make this, my window smaller? Oh, there you go. Okay. I was able to make my window smaller. Or maybe, and I cannot do picture on picture either. Okay, so I cannot move this. All right. Seems to be the best option here, which is making my face small on one corner. Now you're gonna probably have to make your window big in order to be able to see the details. Yeah, in desktop version. No, so what I'm going to do now is going to share the actual user interface. Can you see that? It's not ideal. I mean, I can zoom in a little bit. I can't believe these guys don't allow you to do picture in picture. Okay. They must have changed it because I remember doing a live stream where my voice could be heard without my face. So I'm going to complain about this. Anyways, what I'm going to do is start from scratch here. So the first step is going to create the Google Sheet. Again, create Google Sheet, connect with Glide. So we go to your Google Drive, just create a Google Sheet. And there you go. We have a Google Sheet. We're going to give it the name of our app, Zoom app. Perfect. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Now, think about it as a database. So what do we need to have in our app? We need classes, Zoom classes. So that's one table. And we need users. That's our second table. So at least we need two tables. Now there's going to be a third table, which I'm going to tell you later which one it is. But right now, we just need two tables. So I'm going to create one table. It's going to be called classes. Okay. And then I'm going to create its column for the class. So a class will have obviously a title, description. What else do we need? We need a price. We're going to charge for this class, obviously. And a picture, maybe a picture. What else? Maybe we need a, do we need the link to our Zoom class? No, that will be automatically given once they buy the class. So you always can change this, but at least we need the basic bare bones idea. So basically we need one table, classes, and it's going to have 4 columns. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is make this pretty, just because I like things to look pretty. So traditionally what I do is just delete all the extra columns, right? And now we have, I'm going to freeze the first row, view, freeze, first row. I'm going to make the top row, I'm going to freeze it. Okay, perfect. I'm going to change the background real quickly. This is just so things look nice and pretty. I like the things that make it look pretty. So we have one table. Now I'm going to duplicate this table. Duplicate, because I need a users table. And this is where we're going to have all the users and students. You could create two tables, one for administrators and another one for students or users. I like to put them in the same place just because it makes it simpler, right? Now, the users table in Glide, in order to be able to control access, it has to have at least 3 specific columns. One is the name, so the username. The next one is the email. The next one is the actual picture, so a photo of the person. And to control access, there should be another column, which is the level or the access. You can call, by the way, you can call this anything you want to. I mean, the first one should be those ones, name, email, photo. The level could be called access or whatever you want to, right? And here, you're going to type your name, your email. In my case, I'm going to use whatever email. Ideally, it's a Gmail email, because then you can allow people to log in using their email account if you want to, their Gmail account. The photo, I will upload it, and I'll show you how you can upload the photo from within the app. Otherwise, you will have to copy and paste a link here from one of your photos. And the level, I'm going to say I'm admin. Now, the second thing I like to do is always add a test user. I'm going to pretend that there's another user, the test user, and this could be any email, test@email.com. And now this person doesn't have access. So there's nothing under the admin column, okay? And now with this, we could, in theory, have the bare bones database for our app. Now, what I like to do is pre-populate my app with some content. So we could say, I'm just gonna say this is my Zoom class. I don't know how realistic I want to make this, but let's say this is my Zoom class on Tuesdays. Nice. And I'm going to create 3 classes, and the other one is going to be Wednesdays, and this is going to be Fridays, my Friday Zoom class. By the way, I maybe should do this, like Zoom classes to teach people how to create apps. Why not? Description, can we, good question. You can always create the columns and the tables after you connect with Glide. So this is all modifiable at any stage within the development of your app. But at least you have one spreadsheet. You have to have a spreadsheet to connect, whether it has content or not. The content you can add later, right? but I like to have at least some bare bones content before I connect it with Glide. Okay. Description. Typical trick to add the fake content is go to the Lorem Ipsum generator, and then you just copy some Lorem Ipsum content here. Lorem Ipsum, blah, 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 something, blah, blah, blah. And that way you don't have to come up with the description. I'm just going to copy that. Then I'm going to change this so there is no overflow. That's going to be vertical line, no overflow. The price is going to be, I don't know, $49, 49, 49. I'm going to make this a dollar column. Okay, so we have three classes: description, and the price, and the picture we're going to upload directly from the app to make things simpler. And we have already two users, an admin user and a test user. Perfect. So we've created the spreadsheet. The next step is to connect the spreadsheet with Glide. So now, ideally, you've opened a Glide account with a Gmail account. And the reason why you need that is because if you want to be able to use the spreadsheets, Glide needs access to your Google Drive. And to do that, ideally, you open the account with an email address that is associated with a Google Drive account. Okay, so this is my account. As you can see, I've built tons of apps. And so now all you have to do is click New App. And then now now you can give it a title. I'm going to call it Zoom App. You decide where it's going to be primarily used. This actually, it's just, they're collecting information at this stage. This doesn't really affect anything because whatever you choose, actually these three options are always available. You'll always be able to access your Glide apps from a phone, a tablet, or the desktop. They just want to know for internal uses purposes, what is the main purpose people are building apps for. Now we click continue. And then there's two ways to build an app in Glide, either using a Google Sheet, but more recently, they allow you to create your app independently of any other third-party database system, in this case, using their own database at Glide. Now, this is not developed very well, so there's quite a few limitations. So I always go Google Sheets. Now, important to know is that when you use Google Sheets, Glide has to synchronize their database with Google Sheets, and there's always a delay. So whenever something is updating to the Google Sheet, it takes a few seconds to appear on the app. So the performance there's a delay. Now you can have, I talked to the CEO of Glide, David Siegel, and he told me that there's really not, they have apps with hundreds of thousands of users using Google Sheets, and the performance is not an issue. There is, however, a slight delay, again, when you use Google Sheets, between any changes in Google Sheets and when they happen in the actual app. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can force a refresh. But in this case, you're going to use Google Sheets. Now, in the future, they're going to also offer all these other options like MySQL, Excel, everything, right? These are not available. They'll be available probably by the end of this year. But now the simplest thing is to start with a Google Sheet. So we're going to click Google Sheet. And now we select a Google Sheet. It should appear here that I just created a Google Sheet called Zoom App. I'm going to select that. And now is where the magic happens. And this is really crazy that they can do this, where I click select, and immediately, if everything works well, an app will be created. So let's do it. And now what you're going to see is that an app with 3 classes has been created. I want to emphasize how amazing this is. If you try to do this any other way with coding, this process that took me 1 click and a few seconds to convert a spreadsheet into a fully functional. I can click already. I can click on this app. There's back buttons. There's a list. Everything looks beautiful. There's already the 2 tabs at the bottom, classes and users. This being created within a few seconds with 1 click. This traditionally coding would have taken you, first you have to learn to code, which could take you 6 months to a year. And then once you start coding, it would take between, if you're pretty good, maybe 3 days, 7 days of work. Yeah. This is why, if you can invest in this company, I would. Unfortunately, it's a private company, and you can't. That's why I'm trying to convince okay, that's a different tangent, but I'm telling you, these guys are going to be very successful. In fact, they're already successful already. So I have an app already. I could click the publish button, which I'm going to do, by the way. So you can access now. You're going to be able to access this app immediately the moment I publish it. Okay. So now when you click publish, it will be available. There you go. Zoom app .glideapp.io, or you can go to grumo.com/zoom app. Let me do that. And actually, I can open this already. And this app is available. You can actually scan this code here, and it will open this app now on your phone, right? Did you notice that I just built an app in literally less than 5 minutes? I mean, the longest thing was to create the spreadsheet. Of course, this is not the final app, and so now we have to customize it so it looks the way we want to. Okay, so let me just check the next step so we go in the right order. So we set up the spreadsheet. Now we connected to Glide. We're going to create user profiles. So one of the things I will always like to do first is if your app is going to accept users, is to have a way for people to log in. And that's why we created the user table. Now we have to connect it. And this is how you do it. All right. Let me do it right now. You go to the, okay, I'm like this. Okay. View as anyone. In this little link, you can decide how you see the app as. Okay. Now, like I said, what Glide did was make a copy of the Google Sheet inside their database, and now it's synchronizing between Glide and the spreadsheet. So if you want to see the data inside Glide, you click on this icon here, and you'll be able to see how Glide has made a copy of that spreadsheet. And you see that we have two tables, classes and users, which are these two tables, right? Classes and users. So they're being copied inside Glide's database. If you want to access your spreadsheet from inside Glide, all you have to do is click on the data icon, and then click at the bottom left. You click on the on the sources, which in this case is going to be my spreadsheet. Okay. And as you can see here, we have a copy of both tables. You can edit the content right from here as well. And you can also add columns with this button from here, right? So if I add a column here, that column would also, let me just do it so you can see. I added a column, right? It's called new column. If I go back to the actual spreadsheet, you see that new column has been already created inside here, right? Now I can delete it here or on the other place. And then you can see that although I deleted the column, it still appears here. This is what I was saying about there's a slight delay in synchronization. So if I want to force the synchronization, what I do is I click on this little arrow, and that's going to synchronize Google Sheets with the data inside Glide. Okay. It's there. Memo. Hi, Memo. So there we go. Again, just a little recap. I know that there's many different steps, but what we've done is we created first the spreadsheet. We created two tables, one for their Zoom classes, one for users and students. We created an admin user. That's the user is going to be administrating the app, and all the other users would be test users or students. Then we connected that spreadsheet with Glide. It automatically created an app within seconds. And the next step I was going to do is to create a user profile page, right? Now, let's say you forget exactly how to do this, no problem. I'm saying because I actually kind of forgot. But the trick is you go to dogs glide apps. So there's two ways to get help to build your app. Well, there's three ways. The first one is glide documentation. You go to dogs.glideapps.com and you can type here whatever you want to, like creating user profiles, right? Let's go to user profiles. The other one is going to Glide's community. Here you can get answers from tons of experts on any questions that you may have. And the third way you can get help is through Glide experts. These are where you can hire Glide experts to help you. So if at any point you're like, you know what, there's no program, it's still too complex for me. There's a lot of experts that you can hire to give you a hand. I traditionally first start by trying to find the answer on the the Glide documentation. If I don't find it there, then I go to the community, and if I need help, I would hire. If I still need help, I would hire a really good developer. Now I can give you a tip. This guy, he's one of the most active guys. Tin Din from Vietnam, and another guy that is extremely active is Robert Petito, and another guy, if you speak Spanish, Pablo is also very active in the community. And if you are in Brazil, Lucas is the guy to go. So there you go. Now I just promoted some guys that are extremely talented and that could give you a hand. And I know this because I've been in the community for a long time, and you could see almost on every post, there's always the same guys. You see Robert Petito here. He's always commenting and helping. The same guy with Lucas, right? Really, really useful people. Any link for the website? Yeah. So if you want to, let me just post the links here. The community is here. The experts are here. Okay. The app that I'm creating right now live is here. Let me just open it again. It's here. That link that I'm sharing right now, that's the app I'm building. Okay, perfect. Now, so now you know where to get help if you need to get extra help. And now we're going to create the user profiles. We're going to help people log in. So again, the way you do that, I'm like, oh, how do you do this? So I type user profiles. Okay. Setting the user's profile table. Okay, so so you have to set a table, which I did. Open your apps menu and click sign in the right people, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, apparently I'm signed in already. So I'm going to, why does it say I'm signed in? That is not true. I'm just going to refresh the page. Basically, what I'm trying to do is connect the user tables with Glide, so then people can sign in, right? Zoom app Glide, made with Glide, blah, 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 done. Users, Miguel. All right. In theory, I should be able to sign in or sign out from here. It's not letting me do that for some reason right now. I don't know why. So let's just move on to the next step. It's not that important right now. So the next thing is to design the look of the app. Again, we wanted to make something that looks somewhat similar to this. So there's going to be some cards with each class. In this case, we have three subclasses. Let's say we want to design this so it looks better. Glide makes this very, very easy. All you have to do is, in whichever screen you are, all you have to do is click in the inline list, or sorry, in the screen. Here, all the components that make up this screen are here. You click on it, and then immediately on the right-hand side, you have all the settings for that screen. Okay, so in this case, we clicked on the inline list again, And then on the right-hand side, we can modify the look of this screen and see how easy it is to change the look of this screen. Okay, look. I click on tiles and we have a complete different look already. Okay, we can select. There's also calendar and map and checklist. Those don't apply here because we're not creating calendars or maps or checklists. So in this case, you would either use a list, which you can also modify here if you want to. There's different settings for that list, or you could use tiles, or you can use cards. I like to use cards in this case. That would be the closest thing to the original design that I have. Nice, beautiful looking cards. And so that's already generated the cards. But as you can see, I am missing images, right? So it's actually already decided correctly that the image should come from this column. So here under data, Glide is guessing which column to pick data from. So the image, it picked the picture column, the header, the title, and it's already repeated. But in this case, I don't need the header, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Or let me see how I did it on this one. Oh, okay, I was using the header. So I don't need the title. I'm going to remove that. Description, do I want to have the description in the card? Well, we could leave it there for now, but doesn't look that pretty without the image. Okay, now, okay, we can change that later. Let's click on any of the classes. So the same thing here. If we click at any of the classes, we have a nice image, a rating, details, and a button to enroll, a description. And right now what we have is just the title and the description and the price. So now if we want to add images, we can again either add them directly to the spreadsheet here. We will have to like upload it somewhere else and then copy and paste the link for the picture here, or we can create a form inside inside our app that allows you to edit the images. So the way you do that is like this. Under any screen, if something is editable, so let's click this component. Let's say now that we want to be able to edit, let's see, this the ability to add a image to our class. So what we would do is here on the right, we have a button that says edit form. Now we can click allow users to edit. All right, boom. This means that now this little pencil appears here, and now I can edit the contents of this row, in this case, this class. You see how easy was that, right? Again, so I selected, let me just undo this. I went to one class, which in what I'm doing in essence is just going to a row inside my spreadsheet, right? The first row, this row. So I'm going to this first row. Okay. The Zoom class on Tuesdays. So I'm going to that row, Zoom class on Tuesdays. Now I want the ability for users, the administrator, to be able to edit the content. So what I have to do is here on the edit form, I click allow users to edit. Now I can click on the button and edit the contents, okay? And in this case, it's already generated the form automatically. This again would take a long time to do manually. And here I have the picture. I would upload it here. Now, by default, it's chosen that the picture is a text field, but I wanted to make a file picker, the ability to pick an image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that entry, and I'm going to add a new component. This button here is to add components. Okay, I'm going to say image picker. And now I can use this. Okay, question by Andy Rodriguez. When you edit the content in the application, does it update the information in your Google document? Yes. That's the whole idea, that anything that happens inside Glide also gets synchronized back to your Google Sheet and vice versa. Google Sheets and Glide are talking continuously. They're synchronizing back and forth. So to give you an example, if I change this to this and I click done, right? if I go back to Zoom, sorry, to the Google Sheet, this should update. You see how this changed now to description? And if I change it here, it would also change back on the other place. Let me just say, hola. Okay, so I changed that to hola. You can see here, the description has not updated unless I force it. Now I'm going to force the synchronization, and that will change to hola. All right, so that's how it works. Both the Google Sheet and Zoom and Glide are talking continuously back and forth. Okay, so we were trying to create a form to upload a picture. We created a new component to upload the picture. Now we can upload pictures. There you go. You're welcome, Andy Rodriguez. So what I usually do if I need pictures, I go to pixels.com. Like I'm telling you, I'm doing this exactly like I would do it. This is why it's taking long, because this is the exact process. There's no skipping or nothing. If I need a picture, let's say I'm going to do programming. I'm going to teach people how to do, or I could use a computer or something. Let's see, computer. Then I pick up an image that I like. Well, let's say this image, right? These are free to use images, stock images. Now, when you want to put images inside your app, make sure that they're not big images. Otherwise, they will take too long to download, right? So you could go as low as 640 by 427 pixels. 1280, it's a little big, but let's just go for the smallest one. Click download. That downloads it. Now I'm going to put it on my specific folder for this. I usually like to give it a name so it makes sense. I save it. Now I save that image in my computer. Now I can put the image in the class. So when I click on this, I select the image that I just downloaded. I upload it. This gets uploaded to Glide's database. And then when I click done, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. Actually, the image is there, but we have to go to the title and tell to grab the image from the image column. And now the image will appear, right? Again, all the components are on the left. How do you edit the components, which is where the data is coming from, and the design of the component, it's on the right-hand side. So here I'm saying the title comes from this column, the description from this column, and the image from this column. And in this case, I can also change kind of like how the image looks. I can make it a circle if I want to, or I can make it like that, right? Right? Okay. Now, do I want the description to be there? Probably not. So I'm going to say that there's no description here. I'm going to add a new component called text. And I'm going to add this component under there. And now let me add a nicer description here. So I'm going to copy this description and I'm going to put it here. So let me just change the description so it looks better. And you can see now the description appears there. Again, I added a new component. In this case, there's tons of components. This one is called text. And I added it here. And now the text component is here, which I can move anywhere in the screen. I can put it in the bottom. I can put it on the top. And I can put it under the image, which is what I wanted right now. Yes. So Andy asked, can you only upload the image as a document, or can you include a link to the image? You can do both. Now, if you upload the image into Glide, it's easy because it creates the link. Basically, what is done is uploaded the image into Glide servers, and it's created a link, right? Now, this link, you could manually put it there to any image that you own and that you've uploaded to ideally one of your servers, right? Now, when you upload content into Glide, that's going to count towards your quota of available data. So if you want to see how much data you have available, just hover over the upgrade button, and you'll see here that on the free plan, you have, okay, you have 500 rows. I have 1,400 rows because there's a referral program that every time somebody uses your link and creates an app, they give you 500 rows extra. That's why I have 14,000 rows. But if you just started, you will have 500 free rows and up to 100 megabytes of data. This is why it's important, if you're going to be uploading content into Glide, to make sure that they're not big files or big videos. First of all, don't upload videos to Glide because you're going to run out of room immediately. But if you upload images, you want to make sure they're small. And when I say small, something that less than 200 kilobytes, so you don't run out of space very quickly, and so your users don't spend too much data and time trying to download images, right? Like say right now, if you go to my app right now at zoomapp.glideapp.io, I can refresh it, and you'll see that the changes are immediately available to whoever has accessed this app or downloaded it. So if you go now to this URL, you'll be able to see the changes and how the banner has been created. Okay, the image is there. Okay, like it's important to emphasize that any changes that you make inside Glide are automatically saved and published to whoever has the app. There is no draft mode. They're thinking to implement this, but whatever you change now, any changes that I do here, I immediately publish. If I have 1,000 or 1,000,000 users, all of them will have this change immediately, which is actually great if you want to deploy changes really quickly. But sometimes you want to make sure that if there's users using the app, that you know what you're doing, because the changes will immediately appear. There's something great about Glide is that they have an undo button here. You can always undo any changes, right? So if, let's say, you screw up and you don't want everybody to see the error, just click undo, and immediately that update will happen to all the users of the app. Okay, so basically what we did is create our 3 classes with a description and with an image. Now, just to save time, I'm not going to download a bunch of images. I'm just going to copy this image 3 times here. I'm going to refresh the Glide database, and the 3 images will appear immediately. And now we have our 3 classes: Zoom class Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Perfect. Okay. So let me see what's the next step. Design, create input, edit forms. Okay, perfect. Set up payments. So we've more or less designed a very simple user interface. Now we want to be able to buy these classes, right? How do we buy a class? Well, you create a new button called Buy button. So just click on the plus button, and then we go Buy, and we have a Buy button. How difficult was that? Oh my goodness. Not only that, this is already integrated with Stripe. Again, if you try to do this programming, it would take you maybe weeks to add a buy button. So I can put this buy button here, and I can change what it says there. So maybe I want to say buy now, or register now. And this is the part that you need to do in order to be able to collect payments, is you have to connect with Stripe. So if you don't have a Stripe account, just go to stripe.com, create your account here at stripe.com, and then you're going to go back to your Glide app, and then you're going to click here on connect. You're going to go through the steps of connecting Glide with Stripe. Once you do that, and only when you do that, you'll be able to add buy buttons. Okay. Okay. So I have a question I'm going to answer right now, but I just wanted to show you how to add a buy button. Again, now, because I've added this buy button, is available in all my classes. Okay. And if somebody wants to buy my class, they just click here. They enter their credit card details. In this case, I'm collecting shipping address, which doesn't make sense. So if I go and edit the button, I'm going to say, I don't need the shipping address. You can select here which currency, euros, whatever you want to. And then here you can say what the product info is. Right now it's pulling the name from the title of that class, but the description could be the description, and the image, of course, we already have an image, so we're going to do that. Now, when we click on the buy button again, we will have all that information. It's only going to collect the credit card information, not the shipping address, right? And this is already fully functional, okay? Now, what it's missing, obviously, is that when somebody buys it, we will get the money, but now we will have to manually register them into our Zoom class. And you can do that. In fact, if at this stage, literally, you could start already collecting money. But if you want to automate it, that's where you would create an automation. So basically, when somebody buys it, it gets registered to Zoom. And to do that, we can do that next if you want to. Okay, so now let me answer a couple of questions that I think are very good questions. One, by Andy Rodriguez. So if your courses are mainly videos, how can I use Glide to promote your courses, and how can you get more storage with the application? So those are two questions. So if you're uploading videos, and I have that already solved because I created an app to sell courses, right? Which is basically videos here. The way I solve that is you can do it. What you're going to have to do is upload the videos to a different provider. It could be either Wistia or Vidyar or Vimeo or YouTube. In my case, I use YouTube. And then I make sure the video is unlisted, so it's not public, not available for the public. And I copy and paste the unlisted video link into where the video is. And then you know what? It's so easy to do this. I'm actually going to do it. For example, let's say that I want to add a video. Okay, perfect. Let me go to YouTube. Okay, I'm going to go to any video. Look, I'm live. I'm live. Let me see. Grocery. I mean, obviously, this would be a video that you own. And I'm going to copy the link. That would be an unlisted. Okay. Now, obviously, the video is not showing up. So the first thing, I'm going to refresh the database. So the video appears. Now the video appeared. Now I could add a video component. And there you go. It's automatically found that the video comes from here. And we just added a video. You see how fast was that? We can put the video whatever we want to. So that's how you solve that problem. Now, if you don't use Glide to upload videos directly, again, because it's not designed to serve videos. If you want more storage, you would need to upgrade. Click on the upgrade button, and then you have two plans. The basic, which will give you up to 2 gigabytes of data, and the Pro, which will give you 10 gigabytes of data, which is a lot, but not to store videos. It's not going to work well for that. It's going to work well if you want to upload PDFs, images, audio files. I've done that with an app where I upload audio, and audio takes a lot less room, and it actually streams very well from Glide, but not videos. You want to use videos, you have to use the workaround that I showed you. We don't need the video component, so I'm just going to delete it. Okay, and I'm going to answer the next question by Gustavo. No, by Gustavo, yeah. Hey, Miguel, it's also PayPal an option instead of Stripe. Okay, so Stripe is the only payment processing tool that is integrated with Glide. It's Stripe. You see how easy it was to create a buy button. Here's the buy button. I connected with Stripe, and already people can buy stuff directly from my app. If you want to do this with PayPal, you will have to create your own button. I'm going to create a button, okay? And I'm going to call this PayPal, right? Pay with PayPal, okay? I'm going to put this here. Now, this is not a buy button. This is just a button. And there's a bunch of components that they can do several things. So buttons can have several actions. So if I go here and I go, you can see that this button can do several things. In this case, it's showing a notification, but it can add all of these things. You can add a row, compose an email, go back, increment links to screen, open a link. In this case, you would want this button to open a link, okay? And you have to select where the link is. Right now, it's grabbing the link from the video, but obviously that's not a PayPal button. So you will have to go back to your Google Sheet, add a new column called PayPal link, right? And then you would here put a PayPal link to a PayPal button. And if you don't know how to create a PayPal button, just go create PayPal button on Google. And then you figure out here how to create a PayPal button. Actually, I'm already logged in. Oh, no. So here, you just click here on buy button. And then it will show you how you would create a buy button. And then you would copy and paste that PayPal link here, okay? And then here under the PayPal button, you would make sure that you connect the PayPal button to the PayPal link. You can see it's not synchronized yet, so I'm going to force the synchronization. So we can see that the PayPal button appears, right? And now we can go back to the app, select the button, and here we would select the PayPal link. In this case, there's no PayPal link, so that's why nothing appears. By default, there's no content under a column. Let me just copy this. This is not a PayPal link, but at least shows that some data. Right now, if this was a PayPal link, this would open the PayPal website and I could collect payments. Again, now the next step is I would have to connect PayPal with Glide using a third-party tool like Zapier or Integromat. So I usually use Zapier for these kinds of connections. Yeah, you can this link under the button can be anything that you want to, any payment processing. So if you don't have a Stripe, just use this technique. Create a button, then set the action to open link, and then under the link, you can put any payment processing that you want to, anything, Pioneer, PayPal, whatever you use in your country. Okay, so it's very, very, very simple. In this case, I'm going to delete it because we're going to use Stripe. Okay. The next step is set up payments, connect Zoom with Zapier. Okay. So there you go. Now what we want to do, okay, Miguel, please do share how to automate registration after students pay. Yeah. Okay. So this is something that doesn't happen automatically. I eventually imagine Glide will make it simpler. But right now, when somebody buys something, you have to manually add them to your app. And the way you automate this, there's several tricks, but they're all workarounds. The simplest one is when there's a new registration, this is what's going to happen. In fact, this is what we're going to do. Let me just delete this real quickly. I'm going to pretend to buy my class right now. Okay. And the way you do that is within Glide, you can use a fake credit card. So Stripe fake credit card. And I'm going just to copy one of the credit cards here, 42, 42, 42, 42. And I'm going to buy my Zoom class. Register now. I'm going to type this has to be in the future. Put a zip code, put a name, address. Okay, place order. So I'm going to place an order for $49. Now, I'm not going to get charged because when you do this inside Glide with a fake credit card, it works like if it was a real transaction, but nobody gets charged. It's just to test the payment system. So I'm going to buy my class, place order. So it takes a few seconds. The order goes through. Your order has been placed. Done. So right now, in theory, if somebody would have done this, I would have made 49 bucks. Now it would be up to me to give access to this class. Maybe I would have to manually send the Zoom class link to this student. Okay. Yeah. And you can use Zapier. So that's the thing. What I was going to show you is how would you use Zapier to automate this. Now I don't. We'll see if you guys want to learn that. Just let me know because there's several steps. So somebody just buy my class. Now Glide registers this sale by creating a new table called app sales. So again, somebody bought my class. Where is this transaction registered? Glide created a new table called app sales. And here is the details of the transaction. So again, I'm going to make this look prettier so it's easier to see. But you can see that that transaction was by me, the name. It says it's a test purchase, right? So we know it's a fake purchase. The SKU number, in this case, I put the description, but that could be something else. The amount, $49, test purchase, and the date that it was paid. And if this was a physical product like a T-shirt or a hat, and you collected the shipping address, it would also be here. And it's also a direct link to the transaction on Stripe. If you want to see that transaction on Stripe. Okay, so the purchase was made. Glide created a new table called app sales, and this is where the transaction is made. So if you don't automate this, then you will have to manually check this and say, oh, who has bought this email? And then you go and manually send them the access to your class, which is one way, and it's the simplest way. Well, it's not the simplest way. It's the simplest way because you don't have to do anything else, but you have to monitor this spreadsheet all the time to see which sales came in or not, right? Now, how do you automate this? If you want to do this with Zapier, what you would do is create a Zap in Zapier, an automation that detects anytime a new row has been created here. And when it detects a new row, it can send an email with the registration details to that user and registration details to the Zoom class. Okay. So, and then you could, in that same automation, give them access within the app to that class. But actually, in this case, you don't need to give them access to anything inside the app. All they need is the link to the Zoom class. This is not like they're taking the course inside your app like traditional videos. This is a live class. So all they need is the registration link to the Zoom class. So let's do that. So I'm going to use Zapier right now to give my students access to a class. In this case, the class is a class that is going to happen on Tuesdays. So what I need to do now, before I do the automation, is create a recurring class on Zoom that happens on Tuesdays. All right. And to do that, let me just do that. You can do it within the Zoom app, but I think you can do recurring classes within Zoom itself, the website. Let me just sign in here. Okay, sign in. Okay, schedule a meeting. Okay. I don't know. So basically, you would create your recurring meeting here. Okay, so I'm going to say Zoom class with Grumo Tuesdays. You can put the description here. And we're going to say it's a recurring meeting. Let me just make this bigger. Okay. We're going to say this is a recurring meeting. And it's going to happen every weekly. It's going to repeat every week. It's going to happen on Tuesdays. We can send when it ends. Well, let's say that ends by a date, or let's say that we're going to do this, I don't know, 20 times. So it's going to be 20 classes that happen on Tuesdays every week. The code require authentication to join off, blah, blah, blah. Allow participants to join, mute participants upon entry, record meeting, approve for blog students, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So all I'm doing here is creating my recurring Zoom class, which is going to happen on Tuesdays. So let me do that right now. Time zone, maybe the time. The time zone is here. Duration is going to be an hour, and it happens at 1 p.m. Okay, that's good. So it's going to happen every Tuesday at 1 p.m. We're going to have a Zoom class. I click save. So now in theory, when somebody buys your class, you could just copy this invitation, copy me the invitation, and then you would email it to the purchaser. Okay, so, but that's a manual process. If you want to do this automatically, let's go to Zapier. So I'm on Zapier, and I have a paid account, because the free account, I think, allows you, I don't know how many, but you can start for free on Zapier. Go to zapier.com and you will create a Zap. So I'm going to create a Zap here. And to recap, what we're trying to do is to automate when somebody buys our class. We want to send them the registration link to our Zoom class automatically, so we don't have to do this by sending emails every time somebody buys our class. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to name our Zap. It's going to be Zoom class registration. Okay. We're going to find Google Sheets. Okay. We're going to choose a trigger event, which is going to be a new spreadsheet row. Okay. So again, what are we trying to do? We want to use Zapier to detect that there's a new row created here. A new row is created in the app sales only when a purchase has been made. So when a new row happens, we know somebody has bought our class. We're going to detect that. To detect that, we go to Zapier. We create a new Zap. We have to connect our Zapier account with our Google account, which I've already done. And then we're going to set up a trigger that is detect a new row in a Google Sheet. Then we're going to say that the trigger event is that. We're going to continue. We're going to select the account that is connected, our Google account. We're going to click continue. And now we're going to set up the trigger. In this case, which spreadsheet are we looking? In this case, it's going to be our Zoom app. Zoom app. We're going to look at the app sales table. So now every time there's a new row in the app sales table, this Zap, this automation will be triggered. Continue. What do we want to do now? Ping, ping. We want to register this user into our Zoom class. Okay, you can test the trigger if you want to. And the trigger is successful. It's found that there was already one sale, which is me. Continue. Now, we're going to do the automatic registration to Zoom. So let's just type Zoom. You have to connect your Zoom account with Zapier as well, which I've already done, I think. Or if not, I'll have to do it. And what we're going to do is create a meeting registrant. So we're going to register this user, this buyer, into our class automatically. Continue. We're going to choose an account. All right, my Grumo account for Zoom. Continue. Now we're going to select the meeting. That's why I created the meeting beforehand. So the meeting is that recurring meeting called Zoom class with Grumo on Tuesdays. Meeting occurrence. Oh, okay. You select here in which meeting. That's interesting. I guess you have to select this. Okay. I don't know if I need that. Do I need that? Oh, it's not required. Okay. Then the email. Okay. So here we have to say which we have to register this buyer. In this case, we're going to use the buyer's email to put that. We can also, if they enter an email, let's see if there's an email information here. the purchaser name. There's no last name. Confirmation email. Here you select whether you want for Zoom to automatically send a confirmation email to the registrant. I'm going to say true. And is there another required field? Oh, last name. Last name is required. Interesting. Why? What do they care? Okay, I'm going to say Miguel too. Okay. So that's it. That is all we need. Actually, I could test it and continue. So I'm going to register myself to my own class just to test it. Has been, oh, okay. Interesting. Registration has not been enabled for this meeting. So that was that setting that I was looking at. Let me edit this. All. Allow participants to join. Authentication. Apparently, registration required. Once again, for each currency. Oh, okay. Yeah. In this case, when people register, they would register to all the classes. You have to, because if this is a recurring event, so like, are you giving them access to all the classes, to the 20 classes, or to do one class? I mean, this is up to you, right? And can choose one or more. At this need to okay, let's do that. Save. And if it doesn't work, that, I mean, this will be just like troubleshooting, but I just want to show you the fundamentals of how you would connect it, right? I don't know if it would work or not. Okay, they worked. So I registered myself to my own class. I turn on the Zap. Your Zap is on. This means from now on, anytime somebody buys my class, they will be automatically registered to my recurring class on Zoom on Tuesdays. I don't know if we can go here to my email just to verify that. Yeah, so ideally I would get an email notification that happened, and that's pretty much it. Let me just go back to the app. We could try to register with a different email address if we wanted. And this is already set up. People can register. It's going to detect the Zap. Let me just do another purchase here. 42. I'm going to buy test user. Test user. Test at user.com. This is a fake user, right? But I'm going to place an order. Okay. Done. Now, if we go back to the Zoom, there's another order. My second order is here. Let me make this bigger. That order just came through, which means Zapier should have detected this purchase and automatically registered this user. So sometimes there's a delay. It doesn't happen immediately. Go to my Zaps. I go to my Zaps. Here's the Zoom class registration Zap. And we can see if you can always go and see if the history of the registrations. Let me go here, Zap history, and there should be at least one. No Zaps. Okay, so the test one didn't go through. So this takes a couple of minutes, but ideally, what will happen in a few minutes is that Zapier will have detected the new sale and automatically register this new user in my class. Okay, it hasn't run yet. I think if you have like a super premium account, this happens automatically, but I think it updates every 5 minutes or something like that. But anyways, those are the steps. This is how you connect Zoom with Zapier. Okay, let's see. There's some questions here. This is a master class. Thank you, Miguel. What do we have here? Is it possible to give paid students a unique link to avoid multiple users sharing one access a link? No, you can't. This is a, I've heard this concern many times, but this is just a limitation of Zoom. Once you create a Zoom link for one class, that's that link. As far as I know, you cannot generate multiple links. There's just unique link. If they share it, there's literally nothing you can do. But this is the same. My argument is that this is the same for any other tool in the world, right? Doesn't matter what. If people want to share their email addresses, they will. Their accounts, they will. Now there is systems that can detect their IP address to make sure that only one guy that matches the IP address of that purchase can access it. So nobody. But what if that guy changes computer? Oh no, now your IP address is different, so no, we cannot verify that you were the original buyer. It's very unlikely that people are going to share your link unless you're extremely famous, in which case you don't really care if 2% of the people start sharing links because you're making millions of dollars. Okay. Most people are going to get between 10 and 15 students at max. They're going to know them by heart, by their name. And if somebody shows up and it's like, who are you? Why are you here? You know what I mean? Not only that, if they're not in your email list and you're giving like some kind of resources, it doesn't matter because then they could share the resources. You know what? I've been selling courses for the last 11 years. About 5% of the people copy and pirate my courses. You know, I don't give two craps about it because there's nothing I can do, one. And second, it really doesn't affect me that much. And if people want to take my classes for free, not everybody can afford them. So there you go. This is my donation to the world. But again, it's not really a concern. Yeah, so paid accounts update every 5 minutes on free accounts. So yeah, there's going to be a replay. So the same link, this same video, once it ends, it will automatically be used to get the recording. And let's see if the Zapier actually updated now, since I've been ranting for a little bit. You see, there you go. The registration is here. So again, there was a purchase made, a fake purchase within our app. We created a Zapier Zap to detect the sale inside our Google Sheet. So we were detecting a new sale that triggered the Zap because the Zap is looking for new rows created in this specific sheet called App Sales. When that happened, the Zap was triggered, the automation was triggered, and then we automatically created a new registrant to our Zoom class, and the registrant should have gotten their registration details by email. If they didn't, or if you don't have that set up through Zoom, let's create the registration notification within the automation. We just click plus, and we say send email. Let's say email by Zapier. And we're gonna call this, by the way, you can rename these things. Session confirmation email. And we're going to send an email confirming that they just bought our class. Send outbound email, continue. We're going to send this to the buyer. The subject is going to be welcome to my Zoom class on Tuesdays. Here we could put the message. Here's the link to join my class. The link should be here. I don't know if it's gonna be here actually. Join URL. There you go. Boom. Join URL. Attachment from name. Doesn't matter. Reply to. That's gonna be automatic. Continue. So that's how simple it is to add an automatic email. Another thing I usually like to do is send myself an email confirming that I had a new sale, which you're gonna find out anyways, because if you connected via Stripe, you're gonna get a notification via Stripe saying that you got a new sale. But you could also set it up here as well. You would just create another email notification, as many as you want to, right? But anyway, that's how. The moment you edit your Zap, you have to turn it on again. So I'm gonna turn it on again, and now this is live again. In fact, in fact, because the app is live. Uh, uh, remember, I sent you the link. Where is this? You can see that this already updated. The Zoom, the paper, the buy button is not here. So let me refresh the app. This is live right now, guys. So if you were to pay right now $49, this whole system would work. I would collect the $49 and you would be registered to a fake imaginary class that I would never give. uh, that's how simple it is, right? Now you actually can make. I'm going to make this app available for you now to make a copy. This is also something very useful. So let's say you want to replicate this or start with this template from scratch. You just go here to settings, and then I can click on sharing, and I can allow anyone with the link to copy the app. And the moment I do that, there's a new this button changes from share app to copy this app. You could go now directly to this link. I'm going to put it here. And if you go to that link right now, you can access the app. You can buy classes from it if you want to. You can make a copy of the app if you want to in your own account to play with it. It won't work because you'll need to connect with your own Stripe account. You can share with the whole world. And in theory, you could even sell this template. Now, there is a limitation. I think if you have not created the original template, you cannot sell it. It's just a way of protecting your original ideas, I guess. But if you were like in my case, because I'm the original creator of this template, I can go to template and I can submit this template to the template store for people to buy it. And I've done that already with 2 templates, and people are buying them. Every week I make a few sales for 2 apps that I created. So not only you can create your own apps, you can monetize them via selling your own products. You can automate everything you want to. You can also charge people to build these apps if you wanted. And finally, you can also make money by selling the actual templates within the Glide marketplace. So the options are there to really monetize making money building apps without coding. I just signed up for a Lauren Eames class, Zoom. Curtis. Awesome. So yeah, like it's that simple. Now I showed you how to do this from scratch. Now, if doing it from scratch is actually not really needed because, like I say, there is a template. So if I go out and you see that, oh, you know what, I don't want to start from scratch, you can always go down to your account and you can either buy a premium template, or there is literally hundreds of free templates. So let's say I go to the template marketplace and I want to start my own mobile. I want to start selling t-shirts. All right, let's sell t-shirts. Click on this free template, copy app for free. And now within a few seconds, I'll have a new app to sell t-shirts. Look, I'm not doing anything. Somebody is doing things in the background and nothing is happening. Well, in theory, and now, of course, when you do these things live, it never works. Oh no, could not load network resources. Okay, no, hold on. Let's try again. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. 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 You can do it. You see, if this was a video traditional, I would cut this part so you don't have to wait. This is the problem with live classes, that when things don't work, you get to see that things don't work. So in theory, what will happen is that this template will be copied into my account, and immediately I could change it and put a button and start collecting money, right? So it's copying. Sometimes it takes a while to make a copy. But anyways, while it's trying to make the copy of the template, my point was that if you want to look at everything what we have here, education. By the way, if you want to buy my templates, here's my template: course app and quiz app, which in my humble opinion, are the best apps for courses and quizzes, because what I've seen out there, like somebody's charging like how much? $200 for some app. I don't know. Uh, yeah, I mean, maybe it's really good. I don't know. I couldn't say. But if you want to sell courses, again, you don't have to start from scratch. You can buy one premium template. You can start with a free template. You can build your own template. Then you can sell your template if you want to. Then you can sell stuff through your template. Like there's so many ways you can monetize this. I mean, I don't know if people really understand why I'm so excited about this. Like I never seen a system that works this well. Uh, so now you know. And let me see. It's trying to make the copy. It didn't make the copy. It's okay. Let me go back to Zoom app. Okay, so we're here. Now let's do a little bit further customization here. Let's say that instead of the description here, we wanted the price. So under description, we're going to have the price. Okay. What else do we want to have here? Yeah, quiz apps can be great for online assessments. Yes, yeah. I'm also doing right now programming an app to do assessments. So, as in, like if you ask a bunch of questions, and based on the questions, you fall within one category or other category, like a personality assessment. So you could have like 50 questions, and each question, and at the end of the assessment, it will tell you what kind of personality type you are. You can do that within Glide, and I'm building a tool to do that right now, which I think is going to be very cool. There's a humongous demand for anything related to quizzes. In fact, I just sold quiz app to a big company in Spain. By the way, I'm not even doing this to really monetize my apps. It's just that there is such a huge demand for affordable apps out there that people have found me organically through my YouTube channel. And then when they found out I was doing the quiz app, they said, Miguel, can we buy it from you and customize it, because they're gonna be actually using it to onboard or test thousands of applicants that want to join the police force in different provinces in Spain. So I had to translate it into Spanish, and then they basically are paying me to further customize it so thousands of people can use this to officially take tests to join the police force academies in Spain. I mean, are you kidding? How cool is that? That is exactly what that I am to create, Miguel. Yeah, for specific industries. Do you build app from scratch? So yeah, Andy, I get a lot of requests to do consulting. So I mean, I could, if you want to, I can. You can write to me at Miguel Agrumo. We can discuss that. But these days I'm quite busy, so it's kind of tricky to find time to help people. But yeah, I mean, we could maybe get in 1 hour consultation and maybe help you. So, any specific questions? I just show you the fundamentals of how you start from scratch, creating your spreadsheet, connecting with Glide, customizing it. The thing that I didn't do is to create the user profiles. I don't know why I was not able to do that here, but I'll show you exactly how it works in a different app, right? So if we go to this app, actually a quiz app. Let's go to quiz app. This is an app that I'm selling right now. If you are interested in the app itself, you can go to this place. Viva España! Viva España! It's grumo.com. Try quiz app. All right, if you want to test this app yourself, then you can do that, and you can actually buy the template for 49 bucks. You can have this entire template. It's very amazing what you can do with this thing. You can buy quizzes, you can customize quizzes, you can have multiple questions, you can have written questions, you have an admin panel where you can see all the stats of users, quizzes, sales that you've made, recent sales, recent scores. Like, look, let me take a quiz. Look how fast I can do that. Play. Boom, my results, perfect. Which questions I get right? Which questions did I do? How many attempts do I have left? Am I talking? Yeah, my wife says that I talk too fast sometimes. But you can always slow down this video after you watch it later on. So again, a fully functional quiz app built without coding that I'm selling. Okay, right now. I just took a quiz. It's completed. What scores did I get? I go to my profile, recent scores. I got 60%. Just guessing. Look how amazing I am. I mean, what I was going to show you is that you can control access to users. And the way you do that is when you are here, you click on your image here, then you go to the sandwich menu and you go here. In theory, you can connect this screen to your users table, and once the moment you do that, now you can access control. You can decide that people have to sign in order to access your app, which you would need if you want to sell access to the app itself, right? Now let me go back to the Zoom app because that should work. Now remember that this Glide is being updated and is they're adding features continuously. So there's many changes. The user interface changed 2 months ago. New features are happening. These guys are innovating really, really fast. So if something doesn't work, it's probably because they're just adding new features. How many? You can fit up to 5 questions. Oh, don't speak. Yeah, I know. We speak very fast. Okay, so let me go here again. Author Miguel. This is not allowing me. Oh, I know. I forgot this step. If you want to be able to control access, you have to click on settings. Then you gotta go to privacy and then change this to public with email. Here, it tells you whether you can only sign in, limit by password, blah, blah, blah. But in order to be able to enforce user access control, you have to go to settings, privacy, change from public to public with email. The moment you do that, you get a sandwich menu. They made it a little bit convoluted, I know. Now you can click on the sandwich menu. You click on the sign in button. Now you select the source table where the users are, which I created. It automatically pulls the data for name, email, and photo, because those are the 3 columns that you have to have at least in your users table. Remember, users table, 3 columns, name, email, photo, and label, because I want to control access. So if I go back to the app, we got name, email, photo from the users table. Now that I've done this, I can decide that only administrators, for example, can add new content. So let's do that because this is very important. Okay. Not only that, once you do that, now you can pretend that you're signed in as any user within the user sheet. So if I go here to viewing as anyone, guess what? Now I can pretend that I'm logged in as me, the administrator. And if I had a picture here, it would appear here, or I can upload it as well, right? So I'm going to close this. The problem is that right now, only people are forced to enter their email address in order to log in. So if I refresh the page, look at this. We're forcing people to log in, which is good. You see now it's asking for an email address. But if you want your app to be open and have access control, you have to do what I told you. Let me repeat this again. You have to go to user settings, to privacy, change it to public with email, and then you have to go to the sandwich menu and then connect it to your users table. Now we can go back to public, and this has been saved. So now we still have user control, but people are not forced to use their email address. And this is where now the magic can happen finally, which is we want the ability for only administrators to add content or edit content. Let's say I want the ability to add new classes. How would I do that? So in this case, I would go to the screen where I want to add content, and I would click on the only component in this case, which is the inline list. And here on the right-hand side, there's a new tab called Add Form. and then I have to click add, allow users to add items. The moment I do that, you can see there is a plus button that appears on the top right corner of the app. That means that now I can click on this plus button and add new content. In this case, our classes, right? Now, if I want to control that only administrators can add content, this is why I implemented access control. Because now I can go to the component, click on add form, and I can add a condition. This is the magic, my friends. I add a condition that is going to say whatever I want to, but in this case, it's going to say that the level of the logged in user has to be admin. And the moment I do that, the plus button shows up. So only when I'm logged in as an administrator, now I can add content. And if I pretend to be logged in as a regular user that doesn't have administrator rights, guess what happens? I'm going to change the user right now and look at the plus button at the top right corner of the screen. It should disappear because this user doesn't have administrator rights. I'm going to do that. Test user. Boom. What happened? This user doesn't have administrator rights. How cool is that? Because now you can control who can add, remove, edit stuff. So let me just pretend to be logged in as an administrator user. Now let's say that no, I want to allow people to only the administrators to edit the content inside this, in my case, a Zoom class. So I will go to my Zoom class, okay? And, okay, now it says that anybody can edit, but I want to control who can edit. So I have to go to add condition again. In this case, it's pulling the data from that from the table where the Zoom classes are. But in this case, I want to make sure that it's pulling data from the users table. So I have to go to the user level. So it's looking for the currently logged in user. I want to make sure that the level of the currently logged in user is admin. When I put admin here, the pencil icon will appear. So pay attention. I'm going to put finish typing admin. Look at the top right-hand corner of the app. Nothing happened. Oh no, there it is. The pencil icon is now available only for administrators. And that's why it's so important to be able to add access control. Not only that, if you are trying to sell access to specific content, paid content, you need to have access control. Because then you could set up that when somebody buys your course or you access to your app, maybe there's here something like status, right? And you could say paid or not paid. And you could use a Zapier automation to update whoever has bought access to automatically update their status to paid. So once they're paid, they can access the content. To give you an idea, let's say I've set up the Zapier automation. Somebody has bought access to my app. The status Zapier will automate automatically this user status. There's several steps to do that, but you would do that. You would find this user based on the email purchase, the purchase email address. Then we'll find out that is this email user, and then we'll update the status to paid. Then if we go back to the app, let's say that, let me create some content that is only available for paid users. Okay. So for example, did we have a video somewhere? Yeah, let me just add the video back up. Okay, so remember that we added a new column called video, right? So let's say that this is the video that people are paying to access. Okay, so we go back and now anybody can access this video. But if I want to access control or visibility for only paid users, I select the video, which is already selected here. I go to options, visibility, add condition. I go that the user, the status has to be is paid, right? And it's in this case, I'm the administrator. I don't have paid condition. But if I logged in as a the test user who has the paid status condition, guess what? The moment I logged in as that user, the video is going to appear. No, it doesn't appear. Status paid. All right. It should have appeared. Oh, you know what? It's probably because I didn't refresh the page. Let me see. I'm refreshing. Boom. There you go. Always make sure that if you do any changes on your Google Sheet that you press the refresh button to force the synchronization. And now this user can access this content because he or she has paid for it and their status has been updated via Zapier automation. And now they can access the content. So that's why you want to be able to implement access control. So when you prepare an assessment with Glide, you can include more than 5 questions. Oh, sorry. This is a question related to my quiz app. Can you have multiple choices for every question? Yeah, you can have up to 5 possible choices, but you can have unlimited questions. You can have 1,000 questions, but maximum 5 possible choices per question. Okay. So that's what we have. We covered, I think, everything. There's more. I wanted to show you something else that is very, very important. Since this video is going to be, we're an hour and 11 minutes. Are we? No, more. We start at 11:30. Okay. So this is a long class, but let me just go to, we're connecting with Zapier, test app, publish app. We publish the app. Again, once you're done, you want to make sure that you publish the app. You click on the share button, you will hear select your own URL. Now, if you want to use a custom URL domain, like your own domain name, you have to upgrade. And that allow you to call this whatever you want, .com.io, whatever, without the .glide.io. And to upgrade, you click upgrade, and then that will allow you, only on the Pro app, you're allowed to have your custom domain, okay? So if you want to have your custom domain, you will have to upgrade. If Glide, if you use Stripe within Glide, on the free version, they will keep on top of whatever Stripe charges you, which is $2.9 per transaction plus 99 cents, I think, 10% on top of that. So if you have a lot of sales, you want to make sure that you upgrade, because obviously at 10%, if you have $1,000 in sales, that means they're making $100 in commissions, which is already way more than the value of the Pro app. At the Pro app level, they charge 2%. So that would be $2. $20 if you have $1,000 a month. So many people are like, I want to save money, I want to pay for the Pro plan. But man, if they're charging you per transaction, you have to do the math. Eventually, you're actually going to be paying more by being on the free plan than on the paid plan. So the moment you start having volume, it makes sense to start upgrading to the Pro plan. And if you want to save money annually, just go to the pay yearly and you will save $25. I have one app already at $24 per month, and it's very reasonable. I think it's good for what you can get. Also, if you want to get free rows, let's say that you want to play with this a lot, but you want to build builder free apps, then there is the moment you create a Glide account, you have you're part of the referral program. You don't get money or anything like that, but you get free rows. You get 500 free rows for every person that opens an account and creates an app using your link. So for example, I'm going to copy my link here. I think I copy it. If I paste it here, right? Now, if you were to use this link, and you create an app with that link, then I would be awarded another 500 extra free rows. So this is a way of growing, and it's very smart. It's just a referral program for them to incentivize people to share Glide. Now, ideally, if they become a paid user, you would get a commission as an affiliate, and there would be more of an incentive, but you don't have that. If you want to make money selling stuff through Glide, you would create a template and sell it through the template store. And in that case, they keep 30% commission for every sale that they make of your templates. It's a little bit high, but I mean, they're doing the promotion on your behalf. So that's pretty good. Now, I can cover another concept which is how to use relation columns, which I think is very useful to know. I just want to know if you guys have any questions. Let me see. Any questions? If you guys have any questions, let me know and I will answer them. If not, I will show you one last thing, which is how would you show your paid app to a customer before he pays? Well, very simple. The moment you create your app and you publish it, so again, the question is, how would you show your paid app to a customer before he pays? So, I mean, you could just share the link to the app and then they can see it. Now, if you want to show them inside the app, so I would need to understand. Let me see. Look. So the moment you publish your app, it's available for anyone to see the app, right? Now, the question is, how would you show your paid app to a customer before he pays? Well, just share the link and then they can see the app, right? Or inside the app. Well, you could just create an account for them, right? Create a new a test account for them, set status to paid, and then let them use it and then remove the status, and that's it. The moment they don't have the paid status or whatever, they cannot access anymore. So you decide. You basically allow them to create an account, a paid user account with their email address. Now when they log in with that email address, it would show that they will have access to the account. Another way is you can make a video recording of how the app looks inside. So record that with Camtasia or ScreenFlow. Record how the app looks inside, then send that video to the potential buyer so they can see the functionality of your app before they purchase it. And I think it's a good idea anyways to do that, because when I've been selling some of these apps, I always create a video explaining how the app works, how they customize it. Because I mean, again, you can sell the template or you can sell access to the app as a regular user that is not interested in development. If you're saying the template, you're selling the template, you would create a video tutorial explaining how the template works and how they can customize it. If you're setting access to the app as a regular user that is not interested in development, like this is somebody that you're selling online courses and you want them to give a preview of how the online courses look, there's several ways. One is that you create a paid account, temporal paid account. You could actually create all kinds of logic. You could have an expiry date here, expiry date, right? And you could say it's going to expire in 1 week. How would you implement this? Again, we're glad you can do absolutely anything that you want to. Like, let's say I want to create expiring accounts. So maybe go to the Zoom app. I created a new table. I'm going to synchronize it. It's called expiry. And then let's create test user, video, paid. Let me just go here to users. Want to make sure that there's status is paid. So, okay, so this would be my test account that I'm giving somebody access temporarily. I'm going to set expiry date. I'm going to make sure that this is the type is going to be date and time. Done. And here I can set when is the expiry date going to be. Let's say 2021 06 15, so until the 15th of June. So this user is only going to have access to this app until the 15th of June. I go back here and let's say this is the paid content, the video. So we said that here, the conditions for somebody to be able to watch this video is that they have paid, but now we're going to say that they only have access until the expiry date. So we add a second condition, which has to be true, which is the user's expiry date has to be before, before, it has to be before the expiry date. Okay. The expire, no. I'm getting confused here. The expiry date. Okay. The user's expiry date. Oh, has to be, okay, has to be after today. There you go. Okay. So there you go. Only if the expiry date is in the future, which means after today, they'll be able to access the content. So that's a way you can set up a expiry, like a limited time account, right? Once that date disappears, they won't be able to access it. Okay. What else can we do here? The icons on the bottom are automatically generated. They're very ugly. So you can always click on any tab. Let me just click on some tab here and you can change that. Let's say users, I don't know, here. Let me change the icon there. Classes, well, that's fine. That looks okay. So here we have the users listed. Let's say that we want to make this into your profile page. Now, I don't want to see all users. I don't want people to be able to, when they're logged in, to be able to see all the users. So I'm going to do two things. The profile page is only going to be available when you're logged in, okay? And you're only going to be able to see your own profile. So how do you do that? I'm going to create a profile page now, okay? So by default, it creates a users page, so tab, but I only want to show the currently logged in user. So how do you do that? You have to click on the inline list, go to options, and we're going to set a filter. And the filter is going to tell Glide what do we want to see. So in this case, we only want to see the email of the person that is signed in. Okay. So right now, only the signed in user will appear here, the test user. Okay. We can change the name of the tab to profile. Okay. We want to make sure that this tab only shows up when somebody's logged in. Is signed user. Okay. We want to show not just, we want to show the detail of not we don't want people to click on here. We want to see a static page with the user profile details. So we have to change this from list to details. So now people on their profile, they'll be able to see their details. If there was a picture, it would be also here. Let me see title. There's no picture there. But now we're going to add an edit button. Let me see if we can add an edit button here. Okay, we have to go to profile, edit form, allow users to edit. We're only going to allow to edit the, yeah, it's not empty. And so basically we're just making sure that somebody's logged in before they can edit, but only the logged in user will be able to see this page anyways. Now the icon to edit has added, and now whoever is logged in can change their details here. So if I want to change my name now to this user awesome on my email, I could do it there, and now you can see how that's been already updated. And that's a way to do that, right? I just created my own page. So if I logged out, if you want to pretend that you're logged out from the app, just simply click on the check mark. And let me just go here. In theory, if you're logged out, you shouldn't be able to see this. So I need to have a different condition. Let me go here, options. I'm going to say that the email is not empty. Yeah, there you go. So if you're not logged in, you don't see your profile page, obviously. Now, if I pretend that I'm logged in as a test user, now you can see how the profile tab has appeared. Now I can edit it if I want to, okay? So that's as simple as that. Now, as the administrator, you probably want to create a page to administer users to. So you could create, in theory, another tab that only the administrator can access. So let's do that right now. Let's create a new tab. It's going to come from users. all users. We can change this icon to users. Okay. We don't want the administration tab to appear on the actual app. So we're going to move it to the menu, to the sandwich menu, which is click, drag, and drop that tab to menu. It disappears from the bottom. Now it appears on the sandwich menu. We have the list of all users here, but we want to make sure that this tab is only available to the administrator. So let me just log in as the administrator here. Then I'm going to set up a condition that says the visibility is only available if the level is admin. Okay. So now only the administrator can see all the users. So if I logged out, or if I logged in as a test user, you can see that if I click in the sandwich menu, I don't see all the users because I'm not the administrator. But if I logged in as the administrator, you can see the tab all users appear. So this is a way to administer all your users, right? There you go. I mean, it's pretty amazing what you can do. Let me see if there's any other questions. I think one thing that I want to cover lastly, because it's a very important concept that appears in, I say, most of the apps that I created, is the ability to, for example, create categories. Let's say you want to categorize your classes in different topics, right? So yoga, tennis, whatever it is, you want to put a bunch of things under its categories. To do that, you will need to create another table. So let's create another table, right? Let me just duplicate this table, and I'm going to call these categories. Okay. And then I'm going to basically delete all these columns. I don't need them. And this is going to be the title of the category. I can have an image if I wanted to. It's up to you, right? So this will be category 1, and then I will just create the other categories, 1, 2, 3. So now I have 3 categories. Okay. And now this means that in order to connect, to associate each class to a specific category, we have to add a new column, which in SQL programming or in database programming is called a foreign key column or a foreign column. Basically, it's a way of telling that which category each record belongs to. So I need to create a new column here, right? Left. I'm going to call this category. And in theory, I could just say copy this here. And now we would know that, for example, Tuesday classes belongs to category 1. The only problem is that if now I change the name of this to category B, okay, then we would lose the connection, right? Because this has not updated to the same name of the category. So the trick to avoid this, and this is a critical thing to understand, is to use a unique identifier for each record. And Glide helps you do this very easily by creating what they call row ID. I think people are delivering stuff now from Amazon. So this is how you do it. First of all, you would create the new table called categories. Now you go back to your Glide database. Okay. Open the data table inside Glide. Now refresh so we can see the new table called categories. Okay. It's appeared. Now we're going to add a new type of column called row ID. It's called row ID at the very bottom. Boom. And as you can see, Glide has automatically generated a new column where there's a unique identifier, right, called row ID that is going to identify each category. All right. Did you get this? Did you get this? Because this is critical. And then we can see if we refresh, it hasn't appeared. Oh, there it is. You can see that the new column has appeared. So now, the way we would connect its record to its category is we would use its row ID, because this is never going to change. The title of the categories can change, but the row ID is always the same, which means if I want the first class to belong to category 1, I would simply copy this. Now you can do it manually, but you can also assign categories from within the app itself, which is probably a better way of doing it. So let me do that, show you how you assign categories inside the app itself. The way you would do that is you go to the app, click on design, click on any of the items that should have a category, click we've enabled to edit the content. So we're going to click on the edit the content. And now we have to have a new field, which is to choose the category. To do that, we need to add a new component, right? The new component is going to be choice. We add choice and we can put it to the top. We're always going to make it required. So we go here and we say it's required. And the choice is going to come from categories. The values is going to be the row ID, and it's going to display as the category title. Again, I went a little bit fast, but so you understand what I did is, hold on, let me just click here on that. And the data is written to the category ID column, okay? So what I did, again, let me just review. I wanted to add categories. So I added a new table called categories. I added a row ID column to identify its category with a unique ID. I created a new column. In this case, we call it category ID. And this column, IDs, have to correspond with some IDs here. This is how we're connecting both tables, right? Perfect. Now, the next thing we did is be able to assign the categories within the app, which is we went to any of the classes and added a new field called choice and category. And then we made sure that the list of categories is coming from the categories table. The values are the row ID. The display, what we see here as the choices are actually coming from the column category title, and that the data that is written is written to the category column inside the classes table. So let me just click done. I know at least these two classes don't have categories assigned. So I will click here and then I will need to assign a category. Let's say category 2. And in this one, I would say assign a category 3. And if we go back to our table under classes, we'll see that the 3 classes have categories assigned to it. Perfect. So now we've assigned its class to whatever category we want to. But just for the sake of it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the first class 3 times, the same thing for the second class. Okay. More time. I'm going to duplicate this a bunch of times. Okay. So now let's say we have a bunch of classes, and this is when you start to need to start thinking about putting things into buckets. So we have 11 classes separate into 3 different categories. And then we may want to have another screen or a screen for people to select categories. The way we would do that is we will have to create a new screen, so a new tab. Let's create a new tab. You click on the plus button and the new tab. A new tab is being created. Now you have to select where the data for that tab is coming from. It's going to be categories. Okay. We can rearrange the order of the tabs. So right now we have 3 tabs: categories, which we're going to call here categories, classes, and profile. Okay. So in theory, when we click on any category, we should have a list of the classes that belong to this category. And this is where the magic happens. To be able to do this, we have to tell Glide to connect our classes with the categories. So we created the tables required to create this connection, but we have not told Glide that this connection exists. And this concept is very, very crucial. You're going to run into it 1,000 times. Once you learn it, you'll know how to do it. You have to go to the table where you want to. So now basically under categories, there has to be another column that is telling Glide that we want to associate this category ID with this category ID column inside the class. So to do that, we create a new type of column, the most important column inside Glide, which is called relation column, relation column. And now this is where we're going to tell how to put together those two categories and classes. So we're going to grab the row ID of our categories and match it with the category ID inside the classes. Here, you see? I'm going to do this match. The moment I do that, now Glide knows which classes belong to which categories. Boom. So now by default, it's only matching the first result, but we want to match all the classes that belong to one category. So we have to click match multiple, and now we can see all the classes that belong to each category. That's great. We can also give it a nice title here, classes. And I usually, when it's a relational column, I always add rel. And now we can display which classes belong to which category inside the app. We're going to go back to the categories table. We're going to click on the category. And here we're going to delete this component. And we're going to add a new component called the inline list component. And automatically it selects the right column, which is the relational column that tells Glide which classes belong to each category. Let's see if that's correct. We don't need the title. And the values, okay. That's all correct. Perfect. So there you go. Now when we click under one category, we can see which classes belong to which category. And if we want to change this to different things, like different look, no problem. Just change it. And let me just change it there. Maybe we want to make it squares or different, you know, like we could have, if we had an image, we could have an image there. We don't have an image in this case. But anyways, that's how you add categories. Now let me recap really quickly what I've done. This concept is very important. Is how do you connect different tables to create, let's say in this case, categories. The first thing I had to do is create a new categories table. And then I created a row ID to create a unique identifier, which we're going to use these identifiers inside the classes because now there's a new column called category ID. Once we've done those things, we can tell Glide to connect them because we go to the data table. We add a new row called relation, right? Relation. Okay. And then here, if I edit this, we say that we want to match the row ID inside the categories table to the category ID inside the classes table. And once that connection happens and we select match multiple, now Glide knows which classes belong to which categories. And this took a lot longer to explain than I thought it was going to take. But once you get it, it actually goes pretty fast. So that's, I mean, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. It's been 2 hours now. I think 2 hours class is pretty good. And we started from scratch. We created a whole app from scratch. So if you want to make, yeah, I copied that link already. If you want to make an app, a copy of this app, simply go here. Oh, you can make a copy of this app and you can play with it. And the video, this video will appear here, the entire thing, as soon as I stop streaming. So, tour de force, Cecil Wade. Thanks for watching. I want to say thanks to everybody. I'm going to say some names here of the people I see. I see Andy Rodriguez. Thank you. Microsoft Office Speed. Thank you. Joges Ward. Thank you. Abdul Hadi Bazayid. Thank you. Memo Sauteda. Thank you. Curtis Robinson. Thank you. Who else do we have here? Cecil Wade. So thank you so much for watching this. If you have, if you would like me to buy any, sorry, not buy, build any kind of app, let me know. I don't mind doing this maybe every couple of weeks where I go and build an entire app from scratch without coding using Glide. Now in this class, we covered all the concepts, all the basic concepts to start from scratch to build a fully functional app. Let me make myself bigger. There you go. Hide on the stream. Hide on the stream. In this app, we build a fully functional app where you can sell classes, automatically register people into a Zoom class, collect payments right within the app, access control. So only administrators can access stuff and edit stuff and add content, to also allow only people that have paid for content to be able to access the whatever paid content that you have. And also we covered a very important topic called relational columns, or an ability to bucket things based on categories, which is also something that will happen a lot. And also, of course, how easy it is to customize your app. And I think that's pretty much it. 2 hours is a pretty good class. Thanks, very useful. Squirrel 65. Eye of the Beholder, which I imagine is Gustavo. Thank you very much. And Andy, thank you so much. You guys are awesome for sticking all the way in this class. I really appreciate it. And this was fun. And I'll keep doing this, more apps, because I actually really enjoy making apps. Like I said, now I'm building an assessment app, which I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes of how that looks like, because you can do some amazing stuff. Let me just show you this. This is just for the geeky people. So first of all, let me go to the quiz app here. So here under the quiz app, you can see you can take a quiz. All right. So I had to create the entire logic from scratch. Now there's something I haven't covered. Oh, but that's another topic in itself. Okay, not that one. Let me go to a different quiz. This one, retake quiz. Okay. So in order to create this quiz, I had to use something else that is really useful and very powerful. And I think it's a game changer when it comes down to creating apps without coding. It's called custom actions. So when people click on any of these buttons, I have a series of actions that have to make a bunch of choices here. They have to decide, is this the right question? If it's the right question, you should assign a point or record that this was the right question. And if not, it was not the right question. And if this is the end of the quiz, then you should switch to the final score result. I mean, all of this has to be programmed, quote unquote, using custom actions. So if you click on any item, specifically buttons, you'll see that under action, you can create what is called custom actions under create new action, right? So if I click here on edit action, boom, boom, boom. Oh, I saw the screen. Sorry. Okay, never mind. You missed all of that. Anyways, what I'm saying is that, let me just go back here so you see this. Time ran out. You see, I even put time constraints here. Let me just make sure that there's no time constraints. Otherwise, I'm going to run out of time taking my own quizzes. What I was saying is that something that I haven't covered is the ability to create custom actions. So for example, in this quiz, just to give you a little bit of behind the scenes, if I take this quiz, every button has a bunch of logic behind it because I have to figure out if this is the right answer, what happens if this is the right answer, what happens if it's the wrong answer, and what happens if it is the last answer. You have to calculate the scores and present the user with the final quiz results. Now, to do that, I have to do, I use custom actions. So what I do is in any button, you can go to action, and then you can go and create new action. In this case, I have an action called answer A. And if I edit the action, you can see all the logic that happens behind the scenes when somebody clicks an answer. And all of these are just a series of if-then statements or conditional statements that are looking for things like, is this the right answer? If it's the right answer, then save the right answer. If it's the wrong answer, do that. If this is the end of the quiz, do X and Y. And you can stack multiple actions and conditionals, which allows you to create an infinite possibility of behavior within your app. Traditionally, you would have to code this with code like JavaScript or Python or Ruby on Rails or C++, which would be quite complex. Or you can do this via drag and drop. And I'm going to show you an example, because why not, since we're doing this already. Let me just go back to the course app, because if you make a copy of it, you want to make sure that you have It's not the Zoom app, sorry. Let's create a custom action. What we would like to do? Custom action that checks how many times people are clicking on a specific class. So let's say that I want to know which one is the most popular class based on clicks, not people buying the class, but people clicking on the class. How do we do this? Bada bing, boom, bang. Like this, ladies and gentlemen. We would go to classes, add a new column called clicks. We would make sure that this is a number. We don't need precision only. We don't need screw separator. Boom. We're going to store here the clicks of every time somebody clicks on a class. Great. Now we need to create a custom action. To do that, we click on the inline list. We go back, action, new action, clicks. I'm going to just say, name this clicks. And we're going to do, every time somebody clicks on a thumbnail of one of our classes, we're going to do two things. We're going to add an increment. So we have increment by 1. We're going to increment clicks. And then we're going to go to view details. So we want this to happen silently. We just want to collect the amount of clicks each item is getting. So right now, that's what we did. I don't know if you can see it there. All right. Now we added one value to the clicks column that we just created under each class, and then we want, after the value is added, to go to the details page. So let me just save this. Okay. And let's test if it worked. So in theory, now when I click on any thumbnail, we would have recorded a click. So let me click here. So we clicked once, we go to data. There should be 1 under the first class. You see that? What does it say there? 1. Now let's click again. Let's go back to the data. 2. I mean, how amazing is this? All right. We could do other things. We could add a conditional. So we can go back to the action, edit action. Let's say we want to add a condition. Just for fun. Let's say when clicks is less than 5, do this. Okay. When after that, we can say, we can force the person, we can say, we can give them saying you only can click X amount of time. So let's say a notification saying error, failure, clicks max surpass. So you've clicked too many times, whatever. You're only allowed to click 5 times on things. So there you go. Now let's click. Oh no, clicks max surpassed. Clicks max surpassed. I create a conditional that is checking that you only can click 5 times on this. And I've actually used this type of things because let's say if you want somebody to be able to take a quiz 5 times for free, well, you can create a counter that checks that they took the quiz 5 times, and after that they need to pay, right? Like a free trial thing. Okay, I'm gonna stop because this is too much. This is way too much information. But as you can see, you can do all kinds of amazing things. Thanks for watching. And again, you guys are awesome. I hope you learned something. In the comments, make sure to ask any questions. And then based on those things, I'll decide whether I make more of these videos or which kind of apps I do in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye. How do you stop this?